r/Askreddit. What scene in a movie disturbs you to this day? American History X, Curb Stomp. Fantastic movie that I can never watch again. Antichrist. When she cuts her clit off with scissors. But really the whole movie. Signs when Joaquin Phoenix's character is watching the Brazil footage of the first alien caught on film. I was 12 when I saw this and it really bugged me out. I was kind of scared of the dark for a few days after lol. Not a movie. But watching Glenn get his head caved in on Walking Dead was gnarly. Towards the end when his eye was bulging out. Nope. The scene from The Road where captured survivors had been kept locked in the dark basement. Nude and starved. And only brought out to be used for sex and violence. Saving Private Ryan. Where the German guy slowly drives the knife into the American's chest. So intense. Full Metal Jacket suicide scene. I love scary movies. But those button eyes and Coraline freak me out. I've never even seen the movie all the way through because of those damn button eyes. Not a movie. But the pig scene in Black Mirror episode 1. Hells no. The scene in Prince of Egypt where God smites the firstborn children. Maybe it's a bit tame compared to others on this thread. But to me, there is something deeply horrifying about the way it was portrayed. Especially when it takes place in a kid's movie. Edit. Typos. The Rock's CGI face in The Mummy. The butterfly effect, the one scene where the kid kills the dog, gave me nightmares for years. And the other scene where they put a bomb into a mailbox. And a woman and her baby open it. I still can't watch that movie. It's been years. I know I was young when I watched it. So I may have been pretty easy to scare. But the scene with Large Marge in the Pee Wee Herman movie really messed me up. That movie Tusk where the reporter gets turned into a walrus. That shit fucked me up. I was like 11. Absolutely terrified the shit out of me. I've made a little list of films I will not see. Irreversible. Solo. 120 Days of Sodom. A Serbian film. Antichrist. The Human Centipede. Requiem for a Dream. The Hell Dimension scenes from Event Horizon. They were brief. But quite disturbing. Human Centipede, the first time you see his creation. The scene in Hannibal where he eats Ray Liotta's brains while he's still alive. That crossed the line for me. The double-sided dildo scene from Requiem for a Dream. This is very personal to me. But I can't watch The Dark Knight anymore. I was in Afghanistan 10 years ago in the US Army. I was an imagery intelligence analyst, someone who looks at satellite photos and drone videos. But people found out I had a great memory and a background in chemistry. I immediately became our in-house IED expert and liaison to the EOD unit, bomb squad, attached to us. I had to see the aftermath of a suicide bombing and a local child had half his face blown off and burned off. Now seeing Two-Face brings back that memory, and I instantly have phantom smells of burned flesh. The scene from a Serbian film where this guy that is being forced to do very horrible and disturbing porn, necrophilia, real rape, pedophilia, is brought into a room where there is two people on a bed with a blanket over their heads. One being a small boy and the other a woman. They were drugged so they were just laying there. They tell him to fuck the boy so he does. And when he is starting to go hard they show blood coming down the boy's thighs. Then another man goes beside him and starts fucking the woman. Then as they are both going very hard and they both finish, the leader of this sick operation moves the blanket and you see that it's the main character's son and wife. So not only did he have sex with his own small child but he watched another man rape his wife right next to him at the same time. I almost threw up. Precious movie. When the mom is talking to the social worker about Precious' abuse and justifying herself. Just disgusting. That scene from Don't Breathe where the blind guy tries to put his sperm in the girl. Fucking no. Pan's Labyrinth. When a guy is beaten to death with a bottle. I just can't watch that scene. Annihilation was pretty weird but the bear scene was horrifying. I heard the bear's moans in my head for about a week. Even as I type this I hear it going hee yelp. And it even had a human face latched onto it. The bug trench scene in Peter Jackson's King Kong. Requiem for a Dream. The whole movie. The only one that still really gets me is the first time Danny sees the twins at the end of the long hallway in The Shining. Nope. Fuck that scene forever. The hobbling scene from Misery, that sound every time. Final Destination 5. The optometrist scene. The entire movie franchise is filled with gore and disturbing scenes. But this one in particular. I can't watch it. I gore. Man. It just makes my skin crawl. I hate that. Sixth Sense, when the girl is puking. I was home alone and gosh, it got to me. Jaws. When the shark jumped on the end of the boat and the captain was sliding slowly towards the shark, fighting and screaming. The demon popping up behind the dad in Insidious scared me so much. I can't even look at Darth Maul without feeling my heart drop. In Pinocchio. When the boy turns into a donkey. Also. When one of the boy donkeys screamed, "I want my mama." That shit traumatized me. The Hills Have Eyes rape scene. I've seen shit in real life. That scene just got under my skin for some reason. That whole movie was unsettling. Because it was too real. It got to the core of you and your fear that you can't protect those you love. Fucking shook me. That scene in Schindler's List. You know. All of them. When they kill John Wick's dog. A Clockwork Orange. Nuff said. The Thing. The body horror and the effects creep the hell out of me. The Norris Thing scene is something that no recent horror movies can replicate. Something about old school horror movies and the lack of CGI make them even more terrifying. Rape scene in Hills Have Eyes. Watched it 13 years ago and it still makes me cringe and feel breathless to this day. The Good Son. Where he's looking down at his sister drowning. The scene in Bride of Chucky where Damien is cuffed to the bed and Chucky rips out his lip piercing before smothering him with a pillow. Something about piercings being ripped out of skin really freaks me out and gives me the chills. Certain parts of the movie precious. The scene in Witches when Angelica Houston peels off her face to reveal her true form as the Grand High Witch. The gluttony scene from Se7N. Holy fuck. The mountain popping a Barin's skull like a pimple. With just his thumbs in the eye sockets. Oh, I guess when a Serbian film all came together, I think I got the cold rush and wanted to throw up at the same time. I wish it wasn't in my brain now. Don't watch it. Read a recap. I saw The Matrix for the first time when I was 6 years old, and the scene where Neo gets interrogated by Smith in the beginning still kinda creeps me out. The final scene in A Sallow. Or the 120 Days of Sodom movie. The entirety of a Serbian film. Do not watch it. You've been warned. The whole Coraline movie. I'm surprised it's not classified as a horror movie. When I was a kid I had nightmares for days because of that shit. I have seen the worst of the worst on the internet. Live leak. Best gore. Any and every shock site. You name it and I've seen it. But I have to say that the botched execution scene in The Green Mile is pretty damn disturbing. Edit. Grammar. Shape of Water. When the creator kills a cat. Something about the killing and torture of cats doesn't make me feel good inside even when I know it's fake. I just don't enjoy the feeling of seeing a cat dead. Unless it dies of age or something natural. Se7 Ven. That movie fucked with my head so bad. The scene with the monkey getting murdered and the village getting set on fire in Cannibal Holocaust. Every single moment of the movie was depressing as hell, but those two scenes traumatized me. One from Hostel involving the Achilles tendon. Artax the horse in the swamp of sadness from the classic movie The Neverending Story. The rape scene in Irreversible is unbearable and gave me terrible nightmares. I woke myself up screaming that night. Fighting off my husband when he tried to calm me down. It's a really messed up scene. Under the Skin, the scene where mom, dad, and family dog all get dragged out to their deaths in the tide, and then the long shot of their baby daughter crying and crawling around the beach all alone as night begins to fall. The eclipse from Berserk. Midsommar when the two people jump to their deaths, and the last 20 minutes from Hereditary. Back in sophomore year college. I started watching films by Stanley Kubrick. Fellini, etc. Feeling particularly artsy, I decided to broaden my spectrums into watching films others wouldn't watch. This ended up in me watching Irreversible. Haunts me to this day. Next on my stupid ass list was a Serbian film, never got around to watch it. Thank God. TBH. Even the rape and torture scene in A Clockwork Orange was too much for me. Nowadays I watch more and more of the good old rom-coms from all the damage I've taken from these UGG films. Not a movie, but that scene in Breaking Bad, Ozymandias, where Walt goes back to the house and shit goes down. The dog scene in The Lobster. The omen when the priest gets impaled by the church spire. Also the babysitter hanging herself. It's all for you, Damien. The scene from 12 Years a Slave where Solomon is left on his tippy toes hanging in the yard in complete silence while his owner paces back and forth in the background watching him. Most recently, Midsommar, where the sister kills her parents and herself using car exhaust. The way she taped it to her face. It just hasn't left my head since. Another one, which is a TV show and probably known in the UK. But an episode of Silent Witness when someone transporting 20 refugees abandons the lorry they're in. Locked. In a forest. They all die of starvation, dehydration, but they show a scene of a mother holding her toddler as he goes limp. She dies moments later. Shortly after, in the news, a story broke of 20 plus people dying in a freezer container. Ooh, tear in my eye just thinking about it. Def think anything realistic true story gets me the most. The entire movie The Girl Next Door. I have blocked out most of it from my memory due to how vile that movie was. It felt like less of a movie and more of a snuff film. Whoever thought of making this movie has to be sick in the head. I cannot bring myself to describe the scenes in this movie. But the basis of them was human torture and mutilation. Search it up at your own risk. Every Saw sequel. The ending of The Mist always got to me. I'll put my 2 cents in. One Dart Ghost, 1990. The Wailing Shadow Demons who drag the bad guys to hell. I was very young when I watched that film and that scene really bothered me and still does. 2. Arachnophobia, where the girl is in the shower and the spider jumps on her and slides down her torso and into the drain. Not a movie scene, but a TV show. 13 Reasons Why has a lot of hard scenes to watch. But I think the only one I actually had to walk away and take a break was Tyler's rape. That was brutal and hella hard for me to watch. I don't think I've finished watching that scene. I can handle gore without blinking an eye. But when things take a turn into sexual territories like that, I get super uncomfortable, and it really is one of the only things in life that shakes me up for a while after. Lone Survivor. Axe is leaning up against a tree, wheezing because blood is filling up his lungs and he ran out of ammo. He knew it was over and just looked at the Taliban raising their weapons toward him. They missed 2 shots before landing around directly to his forehead. His body just went limp. It wasn't gruesome, but the sound of the impact on his skull wasn't pleasant. Plus, it's based on a true story, which is sad. There's this one scene in a Serbian film where they show a mother giving birth to a baby girl in some abandoned factory building, and a guy helping her deliver, and then they heavily insinuate the guy raping the newborn baby. Made almost puke the first time. Not a movie, but that fucking scene in Devilman Crybaby where Akira's too late to save his friends. I've never screamed and cried so bitterly in my life. The scourging scene from The Passion of the Christ. Absolutely barbaric. Trainspotting. Baby on ceiling. Every scene from every Saw movie. Shit is gruesome. The end of Dumb and Dumber. When Lloyd and Harry miss the chance to get on the bus full of models. Pretty much all the last half hour of Mother. By Darren Aronofsky. That movie is twisted as all get out. Other than that. Then that scene where Rosamund Pike murders Neil Patrick Harris in Gone Girl. That scared the hell out of me. Most of Jacob's Ladder. Definitely every time he's trying to figure out what's real and what's not. The original Sonic movie trailer. As a kid I tried to watch one of the Saw movies with my brother and his friends. I'm not sure which one it was, but where a woman is thrown into the pit of needles? I couldn't stand it. I looked away. And when I thought it was safe I looked again. Only to see the guy get shot through the keyhole. Fucked up shit. The end of the boy in striped pajamas still disturbs me to this day.